friends, welcome to another episode of the Cozy Cottage Crochet podcast. My name is Hannah. This is a podcast all about crochet, a little bit of knitting, sometimes sewing, and generally living the yarniest life possible in St. Petersburg, Florida, where I live. Happy New Year! I am recording this on December 31st, 2024 at 11:30 p.m. I am in my pajamas, the house is dark, everyone is sleeping, hopefully for a little while longer, although how I don't know because there's booms going off everywhere. I'm sure you can hear the loud fireworks in the background, and I do apologize. I'm the only one up in my house waiting for the new year, which is a really weird feeling. Mostly in my life, I go to bed. For some reason, I just had a need to stay up and bring in the new year. Of course, you're seeing this on a Saturday, or that's when it will go live, and so it's already the new year for you. For me, it's not yet. So I just thought I would bring in the new year. I spent the last few hours organizing my yarn stash, which was so awesome. And now I want to bring in the new year by talking to you because it just fills my heart with joy. If you're looking for me anywhere on the interweb, you can find me as the Cozy Cottage Crochet on Instagram. I am the Cozy Cottage Crochet at gmail.com if you have any questions about the podcast. And I do have prizes that I will share at the end of this video for the fancy yarn mow that concluded after Thanksgiving. So, I have worked on a fair amount of projects, just not a lot of progress on each one, but just looking at my pile, I've got socks, a shawl, a blanket, and 2 sweaters. That's a lot. Let's just start with what's closest. So what's closest is my Westmont shawl. I am so close to having this done. I keep saying that and it keeps not getting finished. Yes, I know. I am really motivated to get this done, I hope, because I want to start a new shawl called the Landscape Shawl, which is another Tunisian crochet shawl, and I am how many rows away from finishing this? 8, 4. 2 regular rows and 2 bind off rows. So as I said, this is a Tunisian crochet pattern. I bet you this is like 4 more hours of work. This is what it looks like. As you can see, I'm on the very last purple stripe. It's kind of rolling up a little bit because Tunisian crochet does do that, but it will be totally fine once I block it. It's huge, it's delightful. I've used up a lot of leftover yarn and 2 skeins of this yarn, which is Maelstrom Fiber Arts. And let's see, this was a leftover from a project. This was a mini from an advent calendar. This was a leftover from a shawl I designed. And this is actually a sport weight yarn that I had to go stash diving because the original 4th yarn that I picked out for this just didn't, I don't know, it wasn't working. So it's so close to being done, you guys. 4 rows. 4 rows. I really, in the new year, need to like get myself together. I know that's a lot of people's goal. Like, I just need to go through my whips and finish some things so that I can make room for new creativity, because I will be so excited to wear this, especially because our winter, quote unquote, winter in Florida is coming, okay? January, February is our winter. And if I don't have that done, that means I can't wear it. So send me good vibes, 4 more rows. I can do it, you guys. The next project I'm going to share with you is a crochet sweater that I'm working on. This is the Artist Cardigan. It is a free pattern by Nordana Crafts. I've showed this in every single podcast episode so far since I've been working on it, but I have made a little bit of progress. Oh, I didn't move my stitch marker. Of course I didn't. So this is kind of what it looked like last time. I believe that I've put on a couple of rows. I see that I put a stitch marker here, but it's just on the edge. It doesn't really mean anything. I think I did like this much. So just a few rows on this. As I said, it's worked side to side, and it is using yarn over slip stitches for the entire thing to give this knit look in the fabric. And the lighting is not so great, so you can't see it, but this yarn is sparkly, okay? This is a DK weight yarn. The pattern calls for a worsted weight yarn, but my gauge tends to be a little bit tight. So this is 80% merino wool. 10% cashmere, 10% stellina, 250 yards for 100 grams. The colorway is Knit Yorker. It is a Twinkle DK base by Knit Crate, which of course no longer exists. So you cannot get this yarn except maybe in a D-stash or on eBay or something like that. Knit Crate closed their doors, but I just think this yarn is fabulous. If I were going out on New Year's Eve and if this sweater was finished, this would be the type of thing I would totally wear because it's sparkly and it's like a little bit of a neutral, even though it's lavender. I just love it. Not a lot of progress on that because there hasn't really been a lot of progress on anything. We did some traveling last week and there's just been so much going on, but I've put my fingers in a lot of pots, in a lot of yarn pots. So yes, the other project that has had almost no progress and then we'll talk about something that has actual progress, is the knit sweater that I'm working on. This is the Boxy Raglan cardigan by Joji Locatelli. I had made so much progress on this last episode. This is like the only thing you saw. And I had finished almost this entire thing. Since the last time, I have done about an inch, which in bulky weight yarn is not a lot of time. So from the top of where the stitch marker is all the way down to the cord, that is how much I did. Look, it's a panda. I adore this. This is yarn that was dyed by my lovely friend Maria. Hi, Maria, who used to own a yarn company, and it's magical. I would love to spend some more time on this because, again, winter is here, right? If I could get this finished, which I totally could in regular life without children and travel and holidays and nonsense, but I just haven't been able to dedicate any time. Also, my arm has been killing me. So I haven't dedicated a lot of time, but if I sat down and really dedicated some time to this, this is bulky weight yarn, you guys. So it would fly off the needles. It practically does already. I mean, I probably spent a half an hour on that, maybe a little longer, and got an inch. So I need to work on this. But wait, you say, you've talked about 3 projects and we've only been talking for like 5 minutes so far. Yes, correct. I don't know, I'm in a hurry today. Why? Because the end of the year is coming. I do have a finished object. Should I have led with that? Maybe, but I didn't because it sucks. I finished this on a trip that we took. So last week, my husband and my 2 babies and I we drove on Christmas Eve to South Carolina to spend Christmas with my in-laws, who I love very dearly and who Nova and Noah love more than anything in the world. So they went up, we all went up. We got up at 5 a.m. on Christmas Eve. We got to South Carolina around 3 p.m. So we were there Christmas Eve night, Christmas night, and one more night after that. And then we got up at 5 a.m. and drove home. So it was a really exhausting trip. Baby Noah was teething and fussy AF the whole time we were there. But he did pretty well in the car. I do not think he would have done as well if we had not left so early in the morning because both kids were a little out of it. So that was much better for our sanity and mental health to leave that early in the morning, even though it was exhausting. But I'm really glad we went. It was cold and I did Vlogmas while we were there. So if you want to catch a glimpse of that, you can. It was just really lovely. I took that sweater I just showed you and I took socks on the trip, and pretty much the only thing I worked on was socks. I think because I only had the mental bandwidth to work on socks. But what that resulted in is a finished pair of Christmas socks. I actually finished these on Christmas Day. I finished it before I went to bed on Christmas night. I have not washed or worn them yet, but all of the ends are woven in. Oh, so delightful. And I can't exactly tell you where I was on the second sock, but I think it was around here. So I finished the entire foot and the toe on the way driving up there. I had to do it really slowly and take a lot of breaks because of my elbow issues, which I will talk about in a minute. But even with all of that, I have a finished pair of socks. It's the last finished pair of socks for 2024. The yarn for this, I was using Hobie Christmas sock wool. And I believe the colorway is number 6, and it is 75% wool, 25% nylon. You get 459 yards for 100 grams. I got this on sale for $7. and I love it. I really love it. I'm going to put this yarn specifically, the leftovers, in my prize bin. I'm going to wind off just a little bit because I have a project that I'm saving self-striping yarn for, but I'm going to put the rest of that in my prize bin because I'd love to share my leftovers with you. I worked very hard to make sure these were identical. I wound off yarn until I could find the beginning. For all of my socks currently, most of my socks currently, I should have a disclaimer because, what am I saying? It's so late, you guys. Okay. The next pair of socks I'm going to show you, I'm doing something a little bit different that I haven't done in quite a while. But for these socks and most of the socks that I knit currently, I cast on 64 stitches on 2.25 millimeter needles. I knit 15 rounds of ribbing. Then I do 20 rounds of plain stockinette before I do a fish lips kiss heel. Knit the just plain stockinette for the foot, and I do a rounded toe because that just fits my toes better, way better. So these are totally identical except this one, maybe one row bigger on the green section because there was a knot. There was a knot. I was very unhappy about the knot because not only was there a knot in the sock yarn, they started this color stripes going the wrong direction. So they tied it on. It was like right here right where it turns into dark green, where they had a knot, and then they tied it on and it went back to this green. And I was like, are you kidding me? So then I had to wind that off, and then it suddenly jerked again. And I had to like finagle and guess. I know that each of these rows each of these stripes is like 10, I think it's 10 rows or 12 rows or something like that. So they match as far as I can tell. I think that they might be one row different. But to me, these socks look pretty identical. So I'm very happy with that because symmetry makes me a happy lady indeed. So this is last pair of socks for 2024. There honestly weren't that many, but there were a few, and that makes me happy. And so these are done. I still have to take a picture of them so they can be finished on Ravelry. But I am pretty excited that those are done. And I want to show you what I wound off. So here we go. This is what I had to wind off in the great debacle of the knot in the yarn. And actually this is probably fine for what I'm saving for my self-striping scraps, so I don't need to wind off anymore before I put it in the prize bin. I then immediately started a new pair of socks because I have had this particular skein of yarn out waiting to be socks for months now, and I just keep getting distracted and also working really slowly. There's a pair that are going to be made in Knit Picks Felici yarn, which Felici comes and goes. It has been gone for a really long time, and then Knit Picks just recently brought it back, and it might already be gone or is almost gone, something like that. Like once they sell out, they sell out. I love Knit Picks Felici. I have like, I want to say plus this ball, maybe 3 other balls in my stash. And I just don't have any socks currently out of Felici because all of my old socks that I made out of Felici, either I've worn out or they got too small in my postpartum pregnancy feet. So I want to make myself a new pair. That's why I've had them out. I find this yarn to be super, super soft. So this is Knit Picks Felici in a color you can't get anymore. I don't know when it came out, a long time ago, probably several years ago. It's the color, it doesn't say, oh yes it does, Hot Shot. So I have one 50-gram ball, I have 218 yards, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, and it is a self-striping yarn. So this is where I'm at, and I actually have gotten quite far. I can get an entire pair of socks, an entire pair of shorty socks, I should specify. I can get an entire pair of shorty socks out of one 50-gram ball because one pair of shorty socks takes, for me, about 45 grams. However, I want the striping sequence to match up because, again, symmetry is like just fills my soul with joy. So I am using Contrast Mini for the toes, heels, and cuffs, which I haven't done in a while. And honestly, I'm like not feeling it. I don't know what it is about not wanting to do it right now. I just don't want to, but I need to for this sock. So this mini is, I don't know what the color is. It is a, I believe 80% wool, 20% nylon, just a blue mini. It is from Cloudborne Fibers, which is another thing that doesn't exist anymore, right? Does it still exist, Cloudborne Fibers? Does Craftsy still exist? I feel like I saw an ad from them recently, but then I thought they filed bankruptcy at some point. Does anyone know? I could Google it, but I'm not going to. This was a blue mini in a set of minis, and I pilfered it from that set because I thought it went so perfectly with this. This is the same sock pattern that I just mentioned with like 15 rounds of ribbing, 20 rounds of stockinette, except I made the cuff like this stockinette portion like 2 or 3 rows taller so that these are a 10 row. If this is a 10 row stripe, then, or maybe it's an 8 row stripe. Let's see. 1, 2, yeah, this is an 8 row stripe. So I wanted it to be 4 on one side of the heel and 4 on the other side. I didn't want to have like 2 and then 6. Yes, symmetry. How many times can I say symmetry in one episode? That should be the title of the episode, but it's not. So I feel like that looks really well, really good. And the heel that I'm putting in looks a little weird to me. I went back for the first time in a very long time to the shadow wrap heel, which is a pattern by Denise of Earth Tones Girl. I used to knit all of my socks using the shadow wrap heel, and then my feet got weird after I had a baby, and just that's how it went. So I thought I would try it again. I find it to look a little pointier than I like, but I'm going to reserve judgment until I finish these. I think that it, like, I just feel like it's like a little poofy down at the bottom. But I mostly wear my wool socks, especially my shorties, to sleep at night. So it won't bother me if it's like slipping down or there's a little extra fabric on my heel. I don't think that's going to bother me because I'm not going to be wearing these typically in shoes. I wear my taller socks in the winter. In the winter, I wear them and they keep my toesies warm. But this will be like a lovely sleepy sock. So I'm about halfway through the foot and I'm just loving it. I love it. Today I knit all of this, which that's pretty good, right? Especially for having kids. Of course, I had doctor's appointments and things today, which was a reason that I had knitting time. But yeah, these are living in my travel bag. So this is just goes around with me places. And if I have time, I knit a few stitches. And if I don't, I don't. The other pair of socks that I've been working on. Am I working on the second sock? Ooh, I am. How exciting. I have made a little bit of progress. This is Saki silk yarn. It's 55% merino superwash, 25% nylon, and 20% silk. This is a discontinued yarn by Universal Yarns. It's their subsidiary Wisdom Yarns, and it's basically a silk sock yarn. And I hunted this on the internet until I found it because I had a ball gifted to me. I made a pair of socks. They're my favorite socks. They're my favorite socks. I love them so much. So I found this color. This is the Spring Blossom colorway. And I have finished one sock previously. I'm working on the second sock right now. These stayed at home when we were on the trip, so they did not get a lot of love. Ooh, I love it. There's no contrast heels, toes, or cuffs on this. This is just how the yarn looks. Kind of a stripey pattern. I think it's funny. It's funny looking with the little heel. I'm not trying to match these because I don't really think it would be possible because I don't really know when I started, where I started. But this right here is the second sock. And I was right here at the top before the heel started. So I have finished the entire heel. And this is just a regular fish lipscus heel for me. And I just started the foot, maybe like, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch. I started the foot. So that is coming along nicely. Happy about those. I love working on them because the yarn is just delightful. And I don't know, it's just really nice to see some progress on things. It's hard. It's hard when you have kids to see progress on anything, honestly. The last project I have to share with you, it's 11:46, the fireworks are picking up, is my Crochet Memories blanket. I have put on a couple of squares since the last time and it just felt really good to crochet. I have not been crocheting a lot because of the elbow issues I've been having, and I just miss crochet so stinking much. I miss it. So I was able to do this without too much pain, and I added this square and this square to the blanket. This is my Crochet Memories blanket pattern. It is, if you want just a tutorial, it's free on my YouTube channel. If you want the actual written out pattern that includes a tutorial as well as pictures and things like that, it's $1 on Ravelry. And it's basically a join as you go crochet corner to corner blanket. And this is how the whole thing looks. Ooh! I'm not going to show you the other side because it's literally all ends. I haven't woven in a single end since I have started this entire blanket. Oh goodness. Putting that right in front of my nose made me cough. I am using currently row 1 minis, which were sent to me by a lovely friend of this podcast named Rochelle. I think I have like 10 or so minis left. When there are minis, like 10 gram minis. And so one of these squares for me takes about 7 grams, I think, with my current gauge. So that's what I'm doing. I'm saving all of the little scraps to make some other projects down the road. Once I finish with those minis, it's still not going to be a big enough blanket. I'm going to then go into my scraps that I have been saving and saving since I started crocheting and knitting. And I'm going to start adding. So this is a fingering weight blanket, so I'm only putting fingering weight scraps into it. But it's just, it's so pretty. I love the aesthetic. My husband loves the aesthetic. And every time I pull it out, he's like, oh, when are you going to finish that? And then I have to be like, I don't know, 5 to 7 business years. That's how long it's going to take me to finish it. So that's all I've been working on. There was some incoming goodies and all kinds of shenanigans that went on in December that you can totally check out on Vlogmas, because it is 11:50 p.m. on December 31st. I'm not going to go get anything out. Also, I packed it all as much as I could away because I rearranged my entire yard stash and made it so much more accessible, which that's just delightful. The baby's having a really hard time with all this noise. Like, he is still asleep, but he is just rolling from side to side to side to side in the crib, and he can't. I'm just expecting him to cry at any minute. I don't know, probably in 10 minutes when the fireworks really pick up, he's gonna cry. So I am not, are you a New Year's resolution person? Because I'm not. Like, I don't make New Year's resolutions. I don't like set intentions for the year. I don't do stuff like that because it's just not like my personality. I don't tend to keep up with them. In fact, I don't like being told what to do, even by myself. So I tend to get resentful anytime that I set rigid things for myself. And I know some of y'all are like, it's not rigid. It's meant to like make your life better and easier. I get it. But like in general, I just don't do that kind of thing because it just doesn't fit who I am. And that's fine, right? Like, who I am is fine and who you are is fine. And if we do things differently, that's totally okay. And actually, it's what makes the world delightful, that we all do things differently. What I have found interesting this holiday season, however, is that I feel like December went by so fast. It was a blur. And part of that is having little kids. And part of that is how crazy everything has been lately. And part of that is my elbow issues and like being in pain all the time and sickness and all kinds of things. So I just had so much adrenaline in my body. I would swear I heard someone coming up the hallway, but it was just the air conditioner. There's a ghost in my house. Okay, what was I saying before I had a small panic attack inside my soul? Okay, basically, I just don't do that kind of thing, but this holiday season has felt really extra insane to me. Like, it really has. And so this year, or in 2025, it was not a ghost coming up the hall, it was my husband, who has been asleep for hours and suddenly decided to get up. So he's up and now he's back. I don't know. What was I saying? I was saying I don't make New Year's resolutions, but this year has been crazy. And I'm still not making a New Year's resolution. I just want 2025 to be different. And I don't know if it will or not. Like 2024 has been rough. And I don't mean rough as in like the state of the world and the state of America and like politics and all of that kind of thing. I mean, it's just been an exhausting year personally. Like we had a little baby. We have a baby who is very dangerous and always trying to kill himself and doing dangerous things. And he is 15 months old. So he's at the worst age for trying to keep him contained. I have 2 kids. I work full time. Thank God for school that Nova's in. But he's with me all the time. So it's just been exhausting to try and balance. And I don't feel like there's been any balance this year at all. Crochet and knitting has been not a lot, which deeply affects my mental health because I need that part of my life. My elbow situation is a mess. I had an MRI this morning, which you would know. You'll know if you watch Vlogmas. So I'm not going to get into the whole thing because I already like complained at length about that process. But in a couple of weeks, I have to go back, get the results of the MRI. I'm sure it's going to be like, yeah, your elbow sucks. Yeah, I know. It hurts all the time. And that's prevented me from crocheting. And it's just been a lot. Like, I feel like I'm constantly juggling a million things. Nobody's getting my best. And not my family, not my kids, not my job. Like, I feel just very stretched thin all the time. And like, if this is the baseline of like, I'm okay, like, not okay is like right here. Like, it does not take much to put me down here. And I just hope that 2025 is a little bit different. I hope that it gets a little easier as far as these kids are concerned. I don't know. I hope that I have somehow some time to work uninterrupted. I don't know how to make that happen, truly. Like, I truly don't. I know there's always someone who's going to comment and be like, it's just a season, it'll pass. I know it's going to pass, but it might pass like a kidney stone. I'm trying to find joy in all the moments, the little moments that I can, but like, it's honestly just really hard. I do not think I would be having as hard of a time if I wasn't trying to work full time and if I was just a stay-at-home mom, and I don't mean just as in negative, I mean just as in only doing one thing, that would be hard enough. But because I'm trying to do that and my attention is split, it's just not a good situation. And I can't keep up. I can't keep up with anything. So I just hope that 2025 brings, I don't even know what I'm looking for. Like somehow the ability to focus and the ability to like laugh a little more again would be really nice. I have plans to go through my whip box and just be ruthless, frog a bunch of things that just I'm not working on, I haven't been working on, things that have been in there for honestly a couple of years now that just need to be kicked out the door because I'm a different person. Like, I'm not the person who started those projects before I had kids, before I had baby Noah. Like, they're not going to fit in my life. So I need to do that. I would love to have a little more mental clarity. And yeah, I don't know. Do you make New Year's resolutions? What is your intention for 2025? What do you hope is going to happen? I don't want to say it's going to be awesome because who knows? But maybe we can all find joy together. I hope. Maybe we can find time in our craft to center ourselves, to remind ourselves of what is truly important. And even when we're having a terrible, horrible, no good, messed up, very bad day, we can look down at what our hands are creating and say, gosh, that's beautiful. And I made that. I hope that there's more of that next year. And gosh, that's midnight. It's midnight now. I'm sure you can hear the rumbling building in the background. So I suppose I should sign off before your ears are blasted. I will pop in with a little clip of me in the future with prize winners for the Fancy Yarn Mail. And I will see you in 2 weeks for a new podcast. Thank you for being here. I love you all. Happy New Year. Let's start 2025. Hello, it is 2 days later. So I recorded the first part of this podcast on New Year's Eve in the middle of the night, and it is now 10 p.m. on Thursday night, and I am back to share with you not just prize winners, I have those drawn, I will share them in just a moment, but also one more thing that I wanted to share and show you is the landscape shawl. So since I talked to you 2 nights ago, I have done 2 rows on my Westmont shawl, which is right here. It looks pretty much exactly the same as the last time I showed it to you earlier in this podcast episode, but I only have 2 more rows of this to complete. So, and both of them are like border bind off rows. So that is very exciting. I have done 1 row on Wednesday night and 1 row tonight, which basically took like 2 hours. So I'm very close to finishing the Westmont shawl. And once the Westmont shawl is finished, I will be working on the landscape shawl, which is a pattern by Martin up north. This is what it looks like. This is not a great picture because it's black and white, but I picked colors for this, and I'm just gonna see if I can pull up a picture of this on my iPad to show you.
Oh no, so many questions it's asking me. My notebook. Library. It's like, can never just do a thing that you want to do. You always have to like sign in and you forget your password and then have to text your code and it's in the whole thing. I just want to show a picture of this right here. This is the coolest.
This. So I picked colors for this shawl, and the colors that I'm going to show you are going to be starting with this white and red and going all the way here to the middle where it's yellow. So it's basically doing kind of a fade a little bit. The colors, I am going to be using fingering weight yarn because I do not have enough DK weight yarn to make a project like this. Certainly not in enough colors to make a project like this, but I do have enough fingering weight yarn. And this is like a tip for you if you need a DK weight yarn or you just hate working with fingering weight yarn, just hold it double because you will get a DK weight if you just hold the fingering weight yarn double. So this is the color, going to be color number 1. This is the usual from Numa Yarns. Numa? The usual. I think it's from Numa Yarns. The colorway is What Do You Have? Yeah, Numa Yarns. I don't believe this yarn company exists anymore. This is 100% superwash merino, and it's amazing red. The next colors, this is the white and black little squares in that. The next color is Peepaloo Fields in the colorway Chalkboard. This is a 75-25 merino nylon. So those are the first 2 colors. Then it's going to go into some greens and blues, which is exciting. It's gonna be like this. So this is an unknown mystery yarn that I have in my stash. It was given to me years ago by a lady that I used to go to church with. It's some kind of wool. I don't know what. So that's the next color. Then there will be this Madeline Tosh yarn that is Twist Light. It's a 75-25 merino nylon blend. Right here, this is what it looks like. These 2 skeins, I have 2 skeins of that, and I should need a little over 100 grams, maybe 110 or 120 grams total to do this because I'm holding it double. I believe he used like 60 grams or something. So if I'm holding it double, I need double the grams. These 2 skeins I purchased at my local yarn store, which was called Stash, before it closed. So it will be really special to put these in a project. Then there is this, which is Forbidden Woolery. This is a single ply, and it's fun to play with things like this because you can totally do that. This was a gift from Lisa, who is a lovely friend of mine. It's 100% superwash merino. So far, we have this. Actually, it might have done it this way. I took a picture. Yeah, it was definitely this. I had it all laid out. in a row because it's going to be going like this. Then we're going to do another mystery yarn, some blues, I believe, like so. So this is Seismic Yarns. I don't know where I got this from. It is 8515 merino nylon. This one is a Christmas in July 8515 merino nylon. Again, I don't know where this came from. Somebody. And then this is another mystery yarn from the same lady who gave me this one. The lady who I went to church with a long, long time ago. And then finally, we have this. This? Yeah, this. So it's going to be red in the middle. So this is the entire fade. Let's see if I can do this with both hands. This is post yarn. This is Cascade sock yarn of some kind. And this is Leading Men Fiber Arts. So all varying blends of wool, wool nylon, 100% wool, something like that. So this is the color palette. I have it all in a bucket. I will have to wind all of these up, and my plan for yarn management is going to be a little complicated because there's so many different colors and I'm holding it double. So I'm going to have to just, I think what I'm going to do is cake everything up. I'm going to have to split the cakes in half, 50 gram, 50 gram, unless I'm willing to work from the inside and the outside of the ball at the same time. But I don't know that I'm willing to do that because it's such a pain to do that. I've done that on projects before and it's really annoying. So I may have to split them, and I think my plan is to get a bunch of little like plastic sandwich bags and put each cake in its own bag with a little like post-it note or something saying what color in the order this is, because otherwise I'm going to be so confused. Luckily, you pretty much only work with one color at a time, so I don't think it'll be a problem with like yarn management when you're actually doing it. But yeah, so it's going to be, the white will be, will the red be the red and the white be the white? No, my thing doesn't want to zoom. Of course it doesn't. So yes, the red will be the red that I showed you. The white will be the gray. And then, so it's going to be red and gray up here. Then we're going to do greens, blues, and reds right here. And then it's going to kind of fade back out in the same way. But you actually start from this point down here and get bigger. So I'm really excited about that shawl. It's going to be quite a project, I think, but I'm really excited about using all of those yarns, and it's giving me something to look forward to in the new year. I wish you could see how many whips I have in this box over here. I'm going to do a video on like, should we keep going with these or should we frog them? Because there's stuff in there that needs to be frogged. And I have, on Tuesday night, in the middle of the night when I was talking to you, I was like, yeah, I'm not a New Year's resolution person. I don't want to change everything, but I like have this feeling now, 2 days into the year, that I do want to change everything and I need everything to be different. Don't worry, it will pass. It will pass. But I really hope 2025 is different than 2024. And of course it's going to be, right? Like every year is different. It's not a continuation. Everything changes. That's how life is. But to me, I just need like fresh inspiration and fresh creativity. So I'm really excited about that shawl because I think that that will help me with that. And overall, I'm going to try to restrain myself from just starting a million more projects, even though I really want to, because I already have so many projects on the go, and not in like a guilt way, like I have to finish these projects before I start something new. I just already feel overwhelmed by what I'm not doing. And so until I can take some time to sit and figure everything out and really just like, what is bringing me joy? What do I want to do? What will make my life better and more positive in my making journey? Then maybe I need to not start anything. Which hence why I have not started the landscape shawl yet, because I'm still working on the Westmont shawl. I have put an arbitrary rule in to be like, no, you're not working on 2 Tunisian shawls at the same time. You have to finish one first. It's also entirely possible that I might have to have surgery on my elbow or something else this year that will severely limit my making life. And if that happens, gosh, what am I gonna do? So maybe I'll get a start on the blankets for Nova and Noah that I have been planning for quite some time now. I have saved all of my favorite onesies for both of them since they were teeny tiny babies. And I'm essentially going to make like a t-shirt quilt, except it's not going to be a quilt. It's going to be just a blanket with a backing, kind of tacked down here and there so it doesn't come apart. So it's going to be like a knit fabric, delightful kind of a blanket. It's not going to be quilted in any way, but I may have to work on that this year. You know, like if I have to get surgery on my elbow, I don't know what the heck I'm going to do. Like then I really will have to change everything. And I don't want to. I want more making time this year. So I don't know. I could ramble on about this for probably hours, but it's like 10 p.m. I need to go to bed. So let me, without further ado, tell you the prizes for the Fancy Yarn Mal. So the Fancy Yarn Mal was a make-along that I ran last year for several months. I think it was like 2 months long. We ended at the end of November, and I have finally drawn the prizes. There are 2 prizes for the Ravelry / Instagram situation, and there are 2 prizes for the people who are my patrons who participate in the Slack group. So I have drawn them. I will get these in the mail next week, provided I have everybody's address, and they were all drawn completely random number generators. That's how it went. And what I'm going to show you are the prizes. The only rule of this mal is that you had to use yarn that was special to you. So it could be special for any reason. It didn't have to be the fiber content or the price. I have a project that I swatched for but haven't started, made out of wool-like, which is one of a yarn that I really love that is of course discontinued. So like that was a Fancy Mal project to me just because that yarn is not available anymore. So we will be running some make-alongs in the new year for sure. But for now, the Fancy Yarn Mal is over and these are the prize winners. The first 2 prizes are for my patrons. Prize number 1 is going to Melissa, who actually won a pair of earbuds, which I know this is not yarn related, but these are the Raycon everyday earbuds. So I have a pair of the fitness earbuds that I wear every single day. These are the everyday ones. So the main difference is these are not water resistant as far as I know. And they don't have the little hook thing that goes under this part of your ear because you're not supposed to like run while you're wearing them. But they still have the charging case and all of that, and it's super cute. So yes, this is the prize number 1. I actually emailed her and I was like, hey, I just want to make sure that you would like these as a prize, because if you already have a pair or you have other earbuds that you love, then I'll send you something else. But she said, yes, she would like these. And I have a little bit of extra room in the box, so I will put in some tea and notions and things like that as well. But this is the main part of the prize. If you want to know what I think about the Raycon earbuds, I love them. But I'll link a video below that I did a review of them, and I wear them every day. Like, I wear them so often, and I have nothing but good things to say about them. And my husband wears them every day and has 4 years now. A+, 10 out of 10. I love them so much. So that was prize number 1. Not specifically yarn related, but a very cool prize nonetheless. The second prize goes to my friend Emmy, who is also a patron. And the yarn that I am sending to her is a really special 2 skeins of yarn that came from Clinton, Wisconsin, and a lovely viewer of this podcast named Chris sent these to me quite a while ago, and like made from local alpacas. This is the softest, like if just feeling it in my hands, it is so soft. It's so soft. And she sent me these 2 skeins of yarn, and I haven't been able to use them because I can't with alpaca. It just makes me so itchy since Nova has been born. She's like changed my body composition, and I no longer can have alpaca like anywhere near. I can have it on my hands, and that's pretty much it. Like I could maybe make a pair of mittens, but I know that this will go. This is really special yarn. And so I have held on to this for so long because Chris said that I could use it as a prize if I wanted to, but I really didn't want to use it as a prize. I wanted to use it because it's so special, but I know that I'm not going to be able to. use it in a satisfactory way. And so I want to share it with someone. And so that's the prize. And also there is this beautiful hook roll. So you could use this for Tunisian hooks, regular crochet hooks, knitting needles. It is made by Sunlit Vintage. And basically what this is, there's a little card in here. So this is a handmade notions roll made from an antique quilt that was made between 1890 and 1910 using these calico cotton fabrics. And she basically rescues old and vintage quilts and makes them into something else. So this hook roll has been around for 200 years. That's crazy to me. Crazy to me. No, wait, 100 years. 100 years. Maybe 100 and, let's say 1910. Yeah, 110 to 120 years. That's how long this has been around, which it's just like, this is like holding a piece of history. And I just think it's so cool. And I have treasured this, but I haven't used it. And I feel like it should be given a new life and a new love. So it is going in here with the alpaca yarn so that it's going to Emmy. The next two prizes I have to share with you are from the Ravelry and Instagram situation. So if you tagged me on Instagram, you went into the pool of numbers, and if you posted in the Ravelry thread, all of those posts were included as well. So I have two prizes to announce. Number one is going to number 16, which is Mad Ninja Hooker, who is Melissa in Ohio. You are going to get something from my advent calendar that I ordered. So this, I had an advent calendar this year from Candy Shop Yarns. So you're going to get this lovely skein of yarn. This is called Simple Syrup, and it is 80% merino, 20% nylon. Ooh, that's perfect. It's just a lovely pale speckled colorway. And I'm also going to give you the Alice in Wonderland project bag that came with the advent calendar as well. This is what the back looks like. It's got the tree and the white rabbit. The inside is white and says Candy Shop Yarn. And then, of course, it has Alice on the front. So this is prize for you, Melissa in Ohio. And the last prize is number 33, Stitch Crafty Cat, who is Katie from I don't know where, it doesn't say. And what I have for you is two beautiful skeins of yarn that look like this. This is from Long Island Yarn Crawl, American Life limited edition yarn. This is 67% alpaca, 30% merino, and 3% silk. Delightful. And then this is 50% mohair and 50% wool from Deli's Delights. And I just thought these two went together so beautifully. And also will be a little bag that says utterly awesome. This is a bag from Twice Sheared Sheep. And there's also a stitch marker in here that's a little like seal. So these are a prize. So you have won this, Katie. You have won this, Melissa. You have won this, Emmy. And you have won this, Melissa. Different Melissa. So, congratulations. Thank you for participating. I wish I had prizes to send to absolutely everyone. I really wish I did. But I will run some more make-alongs in 2025. I know I made noise about changing everything in the last 5 minutes of talking to you, but I'm not changing everything. I'm not. And one of the things that I want to do, again, is run some more make-alongs. So give me a couple months to get my stuff together, and we will do that. I could keep talking forever and ever, but it's late. It's late, y'all. And I need to go, I think. So if you're looking to, if you enjoyed this episode and you want to hang out with me some more, subscribe. You can hit the subscribe button down below. You can like this video. That just tells me and YouTube that I'm putting out something worth watching. And I have a podcast that I upload every 2 weeks on Saturday mornings, and I can't wait to show you my finished Westmont shawl next podcast episode. Yes, I said it. I said it. That means it's definitely going to happen, right? Nothing in life will conspire against me finishing it. Give me those vibes in the universe. All right, a happy new year, and I will see you in 2 weeks. Bye, friends.